What's his name?
Bobby, send that information to her. Renee.
Or not here yet. He already touched.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, we're good. Yeah. Yeah.
For these folks, they're on the way, but then it might be 6:15 before they're here.
All right. It's 6 o'clock.
I'm back.
Everybody good? Good deal. All right. I would like to, greetings. Thank you guys for being here. I would like to call the January 13th, 2026 City Council meeting to order and welcome everybody here tonight, and say hello to everybody that is following us on YouTube. At this time, is Eric Chrisman here? I don't know if he's here yet. Dwayne, do you mind giving the invocation? Thank you so much.
Let us pray. O God, our help in ages past and our hope for years to come, we thank you for all your gifts so freely bestowed upon us and for all the ways you sustain us. We are grateful for this community, for its residents and its leaders. Give us courage to always seek the more excellent way that sees the best in others and honors them. Make us instruments of peace and make us ever mindful that each person we meet is created in your image. We give you thanks for those to whom you have entrusted the responsibility of governing this community. May they be guided by your light and wisdom, that through their decisions they will seek the welfare of the people, and may the fruit of their work lead to the thriving of all. I offer this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. All right, please stand if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, if you have an agenda in front of you, we're going to skip and move on to the presentation while we wait for our honorees to get here. So if I could have Mr. Brad Fowle come to the front, he's going to give a presentation.
And Mayor Dickey, if I may, Brad Fowler is the tax administrator for Alamance County. The county is in the process of going through a revaluation, so he offered to come to our city council meetings as well as others throughout the county to give updates. So he's here for that tonight, and then we do have him tentatively slated to come back in December to do another update. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Fowler.
Thank you, Manager Garner. Thank you all for having me, Mayor, council members. I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. I will tell you that your city manager jumped right on board as soon as I sent something out, and we've scheduled all the way, as she said, through the end of the year. Some of these sessions where I'll come in and talk to you all. If I can get that presentation pulled up. There it is. So here tonight to talk about the 2027 revaluation. As everyone knows, the last revaluation that we conducted here in Alamance County was in 2023. And so in preparation for the 2027, we wanted to kind of get out ahead of it, let you all know kind of what you can expect, and then come back later in the year with hopefully some numbers and that sort of thing. So we'll talk tonight, just go a quick overview of the process while we do it, that sort of thing. Also give you some key dates to keep in mind as we move towards 2027. And then I always, when I come to these meetings or any meetings across the community or the county, make sure that I mention the exemption programs that we offer throughout the state. So North Carolina General Statute 105-286 says that all counties in North Carolina must conduct a reappraisal or revaluation at least once every 8 years. The Alamance County Board of Commissioners elected back in 2019 to advance that cycle to a 4-year cycle. So now we do that every 4 years, and our next one will obviously be in 2027. The reason that we do that, there's 3 up here on the board. Those are the main 3. Values and assessments will stay closer to current market value. The public stays more educated. It allows us opportunities to come out more frequently and talk to folks and give them kind of an education on the process. It also reduces the likelihood of the large market swings that we see over those 8-year cycles, trying to minimize that as much as possible. So the revaluation purpose, quite simple, is to redistribute the property tax base, fair and equitable assessments. It's also valuations and assessments are updated to current market levels. So what we mean by that redistribution of the property tax base is if you think about Alamance County, different areas in Alamance County grow at different rates. And so also different property segments, commercial versus residential, those grow at different rates. A revaluation is a chance for us to capture those changes and reassess at a time and make sure everyone is kind of on the same playing field again. It says, one down at the bottom of that slide, it says a revaluation is not a means to increase property tax revenue. Okay. Once again, a revaluation is just simply to reevaluate and reassess properties. You all will have the opportunity, obviously, to look at the property tax rate at the time once those numbers are solidified. So some key dates in 2026 as we're moving towards 2027. As you all know, or should know probably, that Vincent Valuations has been taken on by the county to do this 2027 revaluation. They are currently involved in the process of relisting and remeasuring every home and every commercial property in Alamance County. They've been doing that for well over a year now. They're continuing that, and that effort will continue all the way until March. By the end of March, first part of April, they should conclude that work of the review of the physical attributes of properties throughout the county. Subsequent to that, they will move into a role of just valuing the properties for this revaluation. So that's where kind of the valuation piece will take hold. That will start in April. And then in September, we will start with the process with our Board of County Commissioners on the schedule of values for Alamance County. Each county is required to adopt a schedule of values related to its revaluation. So we are working with Vincent Valuations as they prepare that. We're involved in that process with them. We'll present that to the board in September and kind of close that down by the end of October. By the end of this year, majority of the values will be set. We still will have some that will be kind of out there left to do, but by and large, a lot of them will be completed. You can see up here on the slide throughout this entire time frame, we will be doing community engagement. We have meetings scheduled at some of our municipalities already. We have some spots at our local libraries. I think I have 10 meetings scheduled throughout the year at our local libraries. Met with Burlington last week to talk to them about some ways, working with their public information, ways that we can use some of their resources to get out there and talk to the public about the revaluation process and also the appeals process. So 2027 comes along in January. February, they will by February 1st, they will have all values finalized. The idea here is that by the end of February, we send out valuation notices to everyone in the county. So that's anybody who owns property in Alamance County should receive a valuation notice. As soon as those valuation notices are mailed, then the appeals process can start. So the first is the informal appeal process. Folks can certainly appeal their property value if they feel like that it's in error and they have substantiating evidence. They will work with a team member on my staff, as well as Vincent Valuations team, to try and come to some resolution, hopefully, if there's something there that we can fix. If there is no resolution, then we will move on into the formal process. That formal or Board of Equalization and Review process will begin in April and usually concludes sometime in May. You have until, if you want to file an appeal, you have until the day that the Board of Equalization and Review concludes to file that appeal. If you don't do it by then it is an untimely appeal and will not be heard until the following year if you file for that year. In July, as custom, we will send out property tax bills. So July of 2027 will be the first time that the tax bill will reflect the new valuation. So that's in July of 2027. This whole time, we will be continuing through our appeals process, ultimately landing at the Property Tax Commission or the state level appeal if there's nothing here at the local level that can be resolved. Okay, So that's a little about the revaluation. Once again, property tax relief is a big deal across not only Alamance County, but across the state. I serve as the chair for the legislative committee for both the assessors and collectors across the state, and property tax is a really hot button issue right now. Property tax relief is a hot button issue as we talk about housing affordability and the like. Some of the programs, really, we're kind of limited on what we can offer. And when I say limited, we're limited by what the state will allow us to offer. We can't do that at the local level. The first program and the most used is our homestead exemption. For someone to qualify for the homestead exemption, they must be 65 years of age or older. They must own the property as of January the 1st of the year in which they are applying. For this coming up year, they can only make $38,800. That is as an individual, or if it is a married couple, that is a combined income of the married couple in that household. If they qualify for this, they also could be totally and permanently disabled. That's another way to qualify. If they qualify for this, then we would exclude 50% of the value or 50% of the tax bill, either way you want to look at it, off of them. So it's a very good program in theory. We've been, as far as at the legislative level, I have tried for, this will be the 3rd year that I've been chair of that committee, and have tried all 3 years to get some resolve and resolution to this, because we feel like that income level just doesn't work like it should anymore. So we certainly want to, we've tried to get that increase at that level, just to no avail just yet. And then finally, here is our disabled veterans exclusion. If you qualify for this, you would receive the first $45,000 of assessment off of your assessed value. Once again, you must own the property as of January the 1st of the year in which you are applying. You must be a North Carolina resident, obviously, honorably discharged with 100% service-related disability. There is no age or income requirement on this one. It's simply on your service and the disability. And then down there at the bottom, you can certainly say we have our applications online, but also you can call our office, especially for members of our elderly community who are looking for that homestead program. If you call our office, even if you need us to come out and fill those applications out with you, we will certainly do that. If you qualify for that program, I want you in that program. The county wants you in that program. That's what it's there for. So definitely let us know. And with that, I will take any questions that you all may have.
Can you speak to the community engagement pieces? You said that you've been working with Burlington to see what that would look like, but do you have any ideas of what that would look like?
Yeah, they've provided me with a list of some of the groups that they typically have spoke to. My initial was to go to the libraries in our local library system and start there. So we're going to be here at the Graham Library. I don't have the date specific in front of me, but the Graham Library 3 times, Burlington's Library, the main branch 3 times, in Mebane 3 times. Those include nights, night meeting or days, nights, and on the weekends. I'm going to do Saturdays too. So to try to allow as much, get as many folks involved and engaged. The presentations are going to look similar to what we have here, but my hope is that folks will ask questions specific to their needs. So we can have that, kind of that dialogue. It also gives us a chance to talk about the appeals process. A lot of folks don't understand the appeals process. They're either scared of it, or some misuse it just to file property tax appeals. So we want people to be educated so that they're filing appeals that actually do need to be heard, but also they're not hesitant to file an appeal when it does need to be heard.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Do y'all have any other questions? Thank you so much, Mr. Fowler. I appreciate your time.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I would like to recognize our fire chief, Tommy Cole, as he recognizes Mr. Heath and Mr. Owens Utley.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to call these students up with me as I talk about their actions that day. Guys, if you want to, if you just want to stand over there, right in front of that table, will be fine.
Thank you guys for being here.
Good evening, Mayor Dickey, members of council, city staff, members of our public safety agencies, and our guests tonight. What I want to do is kind of paint a little bit of a picture for you as we get to the reason why we're here tonight, is to recognize these two young men. So on Saturday morning, November 29th, 2025, at approximately 6:25 a.m., I'll have to put my glasses on, I'm sorry. The Graham Fire Department was dispatched to a reported residential structure fire on Williamsdale Road in the southwestern area of our city. The Burlington Graham Emergency Communications Center received a 911 call from the neighbors reporting a house on fire. Multiple fire units responded immediately from Graham, Hall River, Swepsonville, along with Graham Police Department and Alamance County EMS. Graham fire units arrived within 4 minutes of the dispatch and encountered a working fire with heavy fire showing from the front of the residence and extending into the attic. And Aaron has pictures for us. This is what we encountered upon our arrival. Due to the conditions on arrival, a second alarm was requested, bringing additional fire units from Burlington, Mebane, E.M. Holt, and the Alamance County Fire Marshal's office. Because of the early hour of the morning and the presence of a vehicle in the driveway, Graham Fire crews immediately initiated a rapid but thorough search for occupants. The search did not locate any victims inside the structure. Shortly thereafter, Graham Police confirmed that 2 young men driving by the residence had noticed the fire, stopped, and began beating on the door of the home to alert anyone inside. The lone female occupant was asleep at the time. She was awakened by the loud banging and was able to grab a blanket and escape the burning structure just moments before the conditions become unsurvivable. An officer with the Graham Police Department arrived shortly after Engine 30 and Truck 10 and later shared the following account with me. When I walked up to the house fire, I saw 3 firefighters enter the burning home searching for victims. The flames were taller than the house, as you can see, and I could feel the heat from the neighbor's yard across the street. The firefighters stayed inside, and what I saw next was straight out of the movies. As 3 firefighters came running out of the front door, I saw the roof collapse behind them. They stayed until the very last second trying to save lives. I shared that account to paint a clear picture of the environment inside that structure. There was enough fire and smoke to create conditions that no one without fire gear and an air pack could have survived. The actions taken before our arrival made all the difference. The heroic and selfless actions of Andrew Heath and Omar Owens Utley saved the life of a young woman that morning. In my 37-year career in the fire service, I have responded to countless house fires, and I am confident in saying that had Andrew and Omar not been in that exact place at that exact moment, the outcome would have been tragically different. Without hesitation, they recognized danger, took action, and placed the life of another person above their own safety. Tonight, we're here to formally recognize their bravery. Andrew Heath and Omar Owens Utley are presented with a Citizen Life Saving Award accompanied by a plaque that reads, "This is to certify that the mayor, city council, and the fire chief of the city of Graham have awarded the Citizen Life Safety Award to Andrew Heath and Omar Owens Utley for exceptional heroism demonstrated on November the 29th, 2025. On that morning, you took decisive and courageous action to save a life of a fellow citizen trapped inside her burning home on Williamsdale Road in Graham. Without hesitation, you placed the life of another above your own safety, making a split-second decision that forever changed the outcome for another human being. Your unselfish actions and willingness to risk your own life exemplify the highest ideals of courage, compassion, and service. Because of your bravery, a life was saved." Presented January the 13th, 2026, and signed by our mayor, Chelsea Dickey, and myself. In addition, Omar and Andrew will receive a fire chief's challenge coin as a personal expression of my deepest respect and gratitude. Mayor Dickey, will you join me down to make the presentation? So these flags, exactly what I read, this is Andrew. Mayor Dickey has the one thrown out. You have those, presentation as a system, our secret. Here's our chief. Saving my life. Thank you very much. I hope you're around next time too.
Yeah. There's always someone in need. Just lend out a hand when you can. That's really it.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you, guys, again, for your actions and stuff that morning. It truly made a difference. I can promise you that. And, I've spoken to the young lady that was in the house. I don't know if you talked to her since that, but she is still very grateful for your actions because you saved her life. Thank you again. Yep.
Thank you. All right, thank you, guys. Feels like everything else we've got to move on to is a lot less. It's not necessarily saving lives, but here we go. All right, next up is our consent agenda. I'm gonna read through everything. The first is to approve the December 9th, 2025 City Council minutes, December 15th, 2025 special meeting minutes, and December 22nd, 2025 special closed session meeting minutes. Item B is to approve a budget amendment for $1,500 for the purchase of a memorial bench to be placed at Graham Regional Park. This is on behalf of Danny Ayers. His friends got together and raised the money, and this is just to allocate those funds. Next is to approve a contract extension for $7,771,440 for the water replacement project, Phase 1, and to include the portion of Phase 2 to maximize cost savings while contractors are mobilized. The funding for this project has already been received, and it's all from the North Carolina State. Item D is to approve an amendment to the audit contract with Stout, Stewart, McGowan, and King to allow for a time extension to February 28th, 2026. The current contract is for December 31st, 2025, so it's just a 2-month extension. And then to approve tax funds in the amount of $278.92 and the tax release in the amount of $370.19.
And Mayor, make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bonnie. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously. Wonderful, thank you. At this time, I would like to recognize our Parks and Rec Director, Brian Fawcett. Thank you for being here, sir. We're going to discuss some park hours.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. As you can see before you, fairly simple proposal from the department to formalize park hours, something that has not been done. Currently, our signage says sunrise to sunset. Experience tells us there are folks in the parks before and after. So we're trying to extend those hours to formalize when folks can be and kind of clear up some of the confusion that may occur. Right now, a simple change, you can see the ordinance in your packet there, that the verbiage in the ordinance says that council can deem and whatever is posted at the parks or what the hours will be. So that'll be a simple vinyl sticker change basically on a couple of the signs that we have posted. A couple of the other ones, we may need to work with the street department to get some signage made at Graham Regional especially, but again, very minimal cost for the initial changeover in the hours. There potentially could be cost involved with lighting of tennis courts and basketball courts as we move forward and we formally allow those facilities to be used. It is my intention to not try to light up the parks like it's daylight 24/7. We will simply allow access to those kind of active facilities that we have in the parks. Walking trails, we will not light, at least again, my intention is to not light the entire walking trail part of the park. Parking lots are already lit currently for safety, for general safety. We have ball field lights that are, of course, lit whenever we have activities at the facilities. But so far, just a pretty simple change in giving some clarity to our citizens.
Brian, can you propose 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and then 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. in different seasons?
Yes.
can you speak to what it would look like to expand those hours? Because 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. feels a little early for some,
Sure,
sometimes.
I'm open. I was, kind of looked at what was around us, what standards are, and in a 9, some may have been to 10 o'clock. I can't recall at this point. Um, I'm not against pushing it a bit. I would be opposed, I guess, going much later than a 10 o'clock.
Sure.
11 seems to be getting a bit excessive. Our PD may or may not agree. They're the ones charged with securing the parks. So I'm not opposed to extending that a bit.
Okay. So like a 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., March to October, and 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. for November through February.
Sounds fair to me.
Okay.
And-
Do you guys have questions?
As
Well-
long as, you gotta realize, there is one section of the city that will be, your phone will be ringing off the hook, and that is over at South Grand Park. Anything after 9 o'clock, they're gonna be calling.
Is that something we've experienced before? Brian, do you know?
There are issues with the tennis court lights at South Grand Park currently. The timer on it is old technology and it goes in and goes out. We recently, to Mayor Pro Tem's point, recently, I'll say a couple of weeks ago, had an email over the weekend that those lights stayed on all weekend. When the park superintendent went by the next day, he turned them on while he was there, did his work, they went off as they were supposed to. So things like that happen periodically, I'll say. I can't say often. I couldn't tell you when the last time that happened was, but that neighborhood is very good about letting us know when those lights stay on. And I appreciate that. You know, we don't want to burn lights all night long and, you know, waste utility resources.
Sure.
I think it would be respectful for those parks in and around residential areas. 10 o'clock, you got folks who go to bed early because they go to work early. And 10 o'clock, now come on. I think 9 o'clock at night, that's more than adequate time. If you're a student, you shouldn't be out past 9 o'clock anyway.
To your point, I would say some people get up early to work, but some people don't get off work and their time to play is later. And so I do know some people in the tennis and pickleball and basketball communities, we do have these amenities to serve them. Some parks are open, like you said, till 11. We're not pushing it that late.
I think it's just out of respect for your neighbors. I mean, all right, those individuals who get up early, get off, there are other parks that aren't in residential areas where you go play. And I've heard pickleball is not a quiet sport. And if you're a person who goes to bed early because you got to get up early, hearing that pickleball, not a way to get a good night's sleep. Again, it's just being respectful. For those few people who want to play late, I'm sure there are parks around that are not part or surrounded by residential.
Bonnie, did you have anything? Jim?
I don't have an issue with 10 o'clock. I understand what Bobby's talking about because I am one of those people now that go to bed early, but, we're dealing with a whole different, people, it's not just 9 to 5 and, I know myself when I used to do it, I would like, I'd like running the trails and it, although they're not lit, but I knew when I couldn't be there. I don't have an issue with 6 to 10 and 6 to 8 November and February. And I'm sure, the neighborhood would, where it's located, residential, that, they would know. But no, I don't.
I mean, if we get a lot of complaints, we could always readdress it later. So,
Well, could we, Mr. Flood, Do you, do you
Captain
think,
Flood?
you think it would be an issue? I mean, as far as the police, is it gonna like drastically increase any calls or anything?
No, I think most times now, it's at 9 o'clock, we'll get the call. Because the park,
I'm sorry, I put you on the spot.
uh, I think now, right now, generally when we get calls later on about the parks, is because people know it closes at dusk. So they're calling about, there's somebody in the park, and that's more what we respond to, where the complaints come from. I don't see an issue with the 10 o'clock. I mean, because I'll be honest, over the years, I've been out there, especially South Grand Park, where it's, doing the patrols, go down there and find them, it'd be after dark, and had it not been for me riding through, wouldn't even known they were there, so I don't foresee it being an issue.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If there's no other questions or comments, I can take a motion.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the hours of 6 AM to, we were going to say 10
10.
PM, correct? For March through October, and 6 AM to 8 PM through November to February.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Aye.
Passes 3-2. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate you being here. All right. We're back with Sesquicentennial Park on the agenda. And I would like to make a little bit of a presentation, if you can hang with me. And then we can open it up to discussion between council. But this is back on the agenda because we need to give our city staff some kind of path forward. Right now, we've got a project that's got park closed on a fence, and it's right in the middle of our downtown. And so setting forth a path for our community, but also giving our city staff a path forward. And I just want to establish our values. I think we can agree that we need pedestrian safety downtown. We want a vibrant and welcoming downtown. And then we also want to be responsible and respectful stewards of the funds that we've got here. And those goals are not in conflict. It's just, we've got to figure out how to puzzle piece those together. So the city of Graham received $600,000 from the state funding designated for downtown improvements. These funds have already been allocated for stamping the concrete crosswalks. It's my understanding, Mayor Talley was noted that these textured surfaces would act as traffic calming measures, that they would help with our safety. I did some research. I asked our city staff to do some research, and I couldn't find where those safety measures were impacted by the stamped concrete. What we did find is our Public Works Director, Burke, had gotten quotes for, they are called something very specific. Hold on one second. Rectangular rapid flashing beacons. They're the triangle in the middle of the crosswalks that flash when people come back and forth. And those have had significant increased safety for pedestrians. I have some for press that I can hand out later. So with that, Burke had a quote that we're thinking around 100,000. We could do all of the crosswalks in the circle. They're quoted between 4,500 to 20,000 per crosswalk. If our goal is safety, and I think it should be, especially in light of the December 13th with our pedestrians being hit, walking around the circle, I would consider us moving towards these rectangular rapid flashing beacons. On top of that significantly brings down the cost of what we would be spending from our downtown park or downtown grant. Right now, we've got 500,000 earmarked for pedestrian crosswalk improvements. If we could bring that down to 100,000, there is $400,000 left from this grant that we can allocate to shoring up the foundation and moving forward with opening Sesquicentennial Park. And that way, there's no doubt about it. The stamped crosswalks are, like you said, you were quoted in the newspaper saying they are an aesthetic ad for downtown. And I absolutely agree. But I also think that taking our closed park fences off of Sesquicentennial Park would also be an aesthetic ad for our downtown and opening up that park. So those are my thoughts. I would love to open it up to y'all's comments.
I have what's the cost of installation of these and how are they powered?
Bert, do you mind coming up and answer some of these questions? I can answer them to the best of my ability. Some of these are solar powered. They are most effective when they are in the middle of the street. And so you see them from both ways. I'll let you answer the rest.
They can either be, powered by electrical or by solar. You've got many options, some automatically detect pedestrians, some takes a button. Depending upon what option you select is what the cost, that's why the cost ranges so much. If you got something that's just really simple that flashes all the time, they're cheaper, but then you get fatigue. Everybody gets used to a flashing light, then we ignore it.
You know what the lifespan of them are? Is there any?
Most of the solar stuff that I've looked at, I've also done research into that for street light options and park lighting. Batteries are 8 to 10 years. Solar panels are 20. Everything else is just standard electronics is electronics, no matter what power source, got the same lifespan.
Just curious.
And do these go like right underneath the sign?
Well, there is a sign, you put
Right.
a sign and a beacon, and it would need to be located to where, we could, the motors could see it before they get to the crosswalk. It'd be really close to the crosswalk would more than likely. be
'Cause
the
I mean, we have
best.
signs for the crosswalks now and they don't pay any attention to them. So I'm just,
They run over them.
they just, I know they run over that one right over here on Elm Street all the time. So, I mean,
So
Ollie,
what-
did you have any questions for, oh, sorry.
One more. So what do you estimate that 100,000, was that just for the lights or is that installation and everything?
And that's installed cost, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one question. Maybe Aaron, you can answer this one. I'm sorry, Bert. My apologies. How much of that money has already been spent? I know that there was some engineering work or something that had already gone through or been approved, right? Wasn't there some,
Yeah, so
so,
we had monies used towards that as well as some upgrades to the lights around downtown. I'll not knowing exactly how much, I'll probably say altogether it's probably less than
I've got the
80.
total.
about 80.
So the amount spent on pedestrian crosswalks year to date is 13,105. That may not include the December invoice for
Right.
engineering services. So that amount could fluctuate a little bit, but actual cash spent to date is a little over 13,000.
okay.
Yeah, because I think the last time I saw of the 100,000 that I thought we would spend up to this point, we had over 80-some thousand left outside the 500,000. So
Okay.
around 20-ish thousand at the most.
Okay. Thank you.
Ricky, do you have any thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is let's go with a different location for the park. And if Aaron, if you'll bring up my PowerPoint.
I think he gave everybody one. There should be one in your desk there, I think, in your.
If you
two,
look
Bobby.
right here, right here.
Y'all weren't sitting there when he put them in there, so just letting you know.
This is a proposal that I've been working on since the, what is that gentleman's name?
Was it
Russell
Richard,
Compton.
Russell
Russell
Compton?
Something came up and, proposed a different location. If you'll move to the next slide, Aaron. Oh. Come on. Historically, this, park has been just basically a venue for wedding photos ops, small gatherings and local engagement. If you move on. The current park is considered a park, a pop-up park, gazebo style park. Its current configuration only is 2,700 square feet. Out of the 127 square feet, 2,700 square feet, 1,132.56 square feet is usable. This is considered a really noisy park. If you go out and look at the comments on the park itself, that is one of the big things. The brick floors are constantly moving, constantly shifting, and create tripping hazards for residents. That's another complaint. Park has no real grass and no real open space and minimal. If you go to the next slide, Aaron. That basically defines what a pop-up park is. If you move on. The property deed for the original park was only 3,110 feet. So you minus the 409.28 for the alleyway, that leaves you the two usables, the park itself and the usable space. Move on. To repair the park, you're talking quite a bit of money because you've got to remove 40 to 55,000 cubic feet of dirt, which is approximately 2,500 tons. And not only that, you're going to have to dig the park out. You can't just dig a square hole. OSHA requires it to be tapered out. So that's the additional. If you move on. My proposal is move the park behind the Graham Museum, using the entire park, where it go from 3,100 feet to 7,710 square feet. That doesn't include the open space behind the museum. If you move on, Aaron. Like I said, the park will encompass the entire parking lot, plus two additional spaces to the right, plus the courtyard behind the Graham Museum. This location is only going to need minor grading, and when I may say minor grading, just to remove the asphalt, grading for site drainage around the museum, and the construction of a retaining wall. Move on. Just going over, we're doubling the square footage of usable space, and a good flat area. Move on. Then your location plans focuses on increasing the park size, provides more outdoor activities. The new locations provide easier access for people with varying mobility issues. And the park aims for a suitable, more vibrant future for all the visitors who come to this area. So just point out some of the features this park will have. It'll have a stage for performance. We'll move the original arbor to this location. The original memorial bricks and benches and metal medallions will be moved to this park. The memorial bricks will be laid in a diamond like they are now. There will be a concrete and/or stamp floor, so the bricks are constantly moving, so putting back bricks is not the option we want to. Our flower pots will be movable, so throughout the year, they can move them and reconfigure them to make them look better. The park is located away from the traffic noise and the downtown noise. You'd be surprised how much downtown noise is at 9 o'clock downtown. It's just ridiculous. We'll have a American flag installed in the park. The location of the park is going to be an economic draw for hosting large events. The new location should help cut down on road closures. We have a lot of road closures on the weekends. This will help bring a lot of those activities up to the new location. The location, as you can see drawn here, can host anywhere from 20 to 30 vendor tents. And the park will have 30, 50, and 100 amp electrical services for food trucks, different vendors throughout the edge of the park. And we will have water connections included. Move on. The park for security of this park, and that's the one thing we don't have with the current park now. The park will have 4 gates, 2 main gates and 2 side gates. It'll have a 3 to 4 foot retaining wall, topped with wrought iron fence, installed around the perimeter of it. The gates will be closed and locked nightly, and security cameras installed throughout. That just gives you an idea of where the entrances are. And I included a phase 2 of this for this particular project, which would be turning the parking lot to the right of Roasted Coffee, turning it into a floating parking lot or more events, or if someone wanted to have a bigger event, they could rent both the park and the parking lot. We'll post closed signs will be posted. The business will be notified in advance, and traffic prevention devices will be moved in. The city of Graham, I talked with Aaron, and he said we can negotiate with Alamance County for an interlocal agreement for usage of the 20 seldom used parking spaces just above our West Elm Street parking lot, which will bring us to a net zero loss in parking spaces. All right. And not on addition to parking spaces, the 20 locations, 20 parking spaces located there on for the county. There are 53 parking spaces on West Hardin Street. They're very seldom used. There are 41 free parking spaces down on Elm Street and Marshall. There are 66 spaces 3.5 blocks away on North Main Street that are very seldom used except on Sundays, and another 56 parking spots across the street at the Presbyterian Church. Total 225 parking spaces within walking distance. And that's it.
Great. Thank you for that, Ricky. Questions, comments from council?
Um, you mentioned, like renting the park out and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But-
this park
For-
is for, it can be leased. Someone can come in and lease it for a day. Or if they want to lease it for a weekend, we can do that. That's the reason the park is being set up this way.
Do we have any idea on pricing, or have we discussed that with any, like, with
We-
Burke at the city or anybody?
We've talked to Bert. He thinks we can do it for, between six. We talked to Burke about, the pricing. We're talking, $600 to $800,000. And we can have it done in 6 months. Plus, another thing that we're going to actually, by doing so, the part that is right behind the museum will be encompassed into this part, into the new part. And they're having drainage issues. And the park is just like a gravel bed out there. So, we're going to encompass those, fix those issues as we move along.
Jim, do you have anything?
I like it. That's opportunity for, to quote you, vibrant, bringing the community together. And that hits all of it, especially the food truck stuff and those connections. Was being with somebody that has a trailer, those connections are a lifesaver. And it also keeps the street clean. I like it, Ricky. Good job. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's a good presentation. I like the fact that we get more use out of that space, because really honestly, and I've said this before, where it is right now, we don't really get much use out of it, even when it was open, to be honest. This would actually give us some revenue back to the city if people are going to be, renting the spaces, if they're gonna bring food trucks in or things like that. And I like the idea of the security around it. I think that's great. Because I mean, where it is now, let's be honest, nobody's gonna bring their dog and play Frisbee golf with them on that little corner. And I do have concerns about, we start digging, we don't know what we're gonna find, so maybe let somebody else worry with it.
You're talking about it. It's just.
Yeah, where it is now, yeah.
Well, we know it's contaminated.
Well, yeah, we know that. So, but I think this is a great idea, really nice presentation, thank you.
I think the incorporation of a stage makes it appealing in that, and the controlled access with the gates, you could actually charge for a musical event to be hosted there, or anything. You could bring in stand-up comics or what during the summer. Because it's large enough that you can accommodate celebrations, birthdays, weddings,
Weddings?
you know.
Yeah.
And the fact that it accommodates up to 30 spots for vendors, that's great for farmers market, where during the summer become a regular feature. It says, hey, on a Saturday, come to the farmers market.
It'd be a great place for, a Christmas, event.
Christmas village.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're only limited by your imagination.
I think it's great. I'm glad that all these drawings are awesome. My hesitation is that we recently had a public hearing, And we only had one individual come forward to say that they wanted to move the park. Everybody else that spoke said that they wanted to keep it right there on the corner.
Well,
Hold on. And we're up here for the good of the community. I think this is an awesome concept. I have some comments on the details there, but I can't in good conscience move forward with this because the community hasn't told us that they want to move it. They've told us that they want to keep it on the corner.
Well, the community, you say the community, but how many people was that? Like 8 people, 7, 8 people that spoke that night? I don't consider that. I mean, it was a public hearing and only about 8 people showed up is my point.
but since the public hearing, since the election, I've spoke with folks who said they had no objections to moving it. And given the original objections to moving it was when Mr. Compton restricted it to that area immediately behind the museum, where it basically occupied the same amount of square footage. Now we're talking about it is really a park versus a small pocket park.
Yeah.
And again, we've been asked to be good stewards, to renovate this present location. You know, you're talking about easily $500,000. When that was originally, that request for quotes came in, we did not do soil testing. We have since learned the area that comprised the old basement there at the corner is contaminated. And so you got contaminated soil, it's got heavy metals in it, which require special, procedures to remove it safely and dispose of it safely.
Burke, can you step forward just one more minute? Thank you for your time. When we had talked before, we had said that we could mitigate the sinking at the current location for 400,000. Is that correct?
Yes, that is based on that we don't find anything other than what we have discovered in our limited testing. Now,
Sure.
you start finding asbestos or you find an oil tank,
Mhm.
that goes out the window.
Right.
But based on the data that we have, you're
Right.
looking somewhere around that. And I've also priced the grout injection.
Mhm.
And just to raise the area, we know for a fact it's settled, that's just $200,000 for just that.
Right.
And then we still don't know how much more void there is, so we don't really know what that bill would be if we tried to go that route.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions while he's up here?
Nope.
Okay.
No, not
All
for me.
right. Thank you, Burke. Okay. We're doing this so we can provide some clarity for our city staff and a path forward for our community. And so what are the next steps that we can do? I'm of strong opinion that we need to do what the community wants, and that, from my knowledge and information, is to keep Sesquicentennial Park at its current location. And that's my stance. But we've got to keep going. I know that you had indicated, Jim, on your surveys that you said that you wanted to keep the park. I don't know how this is a great proposal. And also, we've
We
got to
would be
do what the
keeping it.
community wants. What?
We will be keeping it if we do that. It'll just be better.
Sure, but from my information, the community has said that they want to keep it at the current location.
Why would they want to do that when we can do something like that? I mean, and you keep saying the community, again, there was only 8 people that, showed up to speak, against anything, Mr. Compton's idea. So, and then Councilman Hall just took Mr. Compton's idea and expanded on it. And I think it's a great way to serve the city.
So this is the first time that I've seen this, and yeah, I gotta tell you, it's a compelling argument to put it where this is saying. Because we talk about a benefit to the community. Everything that's at the Sesquicentennial Park right now will be moved over there. It'd be a lot safer than what they have now. And
Quieter.
why not just take that spot and auction it off to somebody and let them develop, let them deal with the headache, and so the city doesn't, and I know what my answers were in the Alamance News about the park. But that was well before this, and I would be a fool to not have my mind open to being changed on anything. I just think this is a good idea. I think it's very well done. Took everything into consideration, even because my first thing when he started talking about it was, okay, we're losing all those parking spots. But then later he handled that. And so losing the parking spots is not an issue. But that's my 2 cents.
I just think we need to give the city staff a path forward, like you said. And we need to do it now. We've been hashing this out for almost 2 years now, and we can't just leave the yellow police tape up around the park. It looks like crap right now. And I think it's doing a disservice to the whole community the way it looks right now. So we need to get some kind of path forward going tonight,
And
in my
truth
opinion.
be told, this problem with the unsettling of at Sesquicentennial Park, it was raised back in 2016. So this has been an issue for 10 years, and the councils have been kicking it down the road. Let's stop kicking the can.
Yep.
I mean, it offers a great opportunity for our community. It still recognizes, now again, the Sesquicentennial Park was built in recognition of the 150th anniversary of the county. This is a park for the city,
For Graham.
for Graham. It incorporates the memorial bricks, and this will allow us, if there are new residents who want to buy bricks, they can buy, and contribute to this new park.
What does it look like? Would you guys be comfortable in opening up for the community to come one more time to do a public hearing? I don't feel comfortable moving it without people telling me that they want it moved.
I
That's
just
my
feel,
proposition, because
Yeah.
if people want it moved, this is great. I will jump on board, but it's my understanding that people do not want it moved.
well, the folks I've spoken to,
I would love to hear from them. So that's why I'm asking for
I
one more
just-
public hearing.
we've had public hearings, we've had forums where folks can speak to this, and all we do, we just keep kicking the can down the road. We've been elected to make a decision, and I think this is for the betterment of our community.
Would you like to make a motion on that?
I will make a motion. Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we move the Sesquicentennial Park from its current location and relocate it to the grounds behind the Graham Historical Museum, as proposed by Mr. Hall's presentation.
Bobby, if you wouldn't mind, Bert, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
In your experience, could you put, I know you've already ballparked getting the park where it's at now back up to standard where it's safe. Do you know how long that would take, or is?
It'd be handled by a contractor, and, we'd have to rebid it because all bids we have are currently they're no good anymore. So you have to go through that whole process, and then what their schedule is, construction world's very busy right now. you know, as far as probably 45 to 60 days once somebody actually shows up. Now, how long it takes to show up, because doing that kind of work's a little more specialized than say doing flat work or on a site that there's minimal grading or not a lot of dirt moving to happen.
Okay. Thank you.
Burke, we had talked about like I know, I'm sorry, just hang up here for a little bit, if that's okay. We talked about it would be under a year or 8 months or something. There is a ballpark you gave me. Is that correct? Like a
Yes.
6 to 8 month. On top of that, this isn't a question for you, but I'm just looking at you. On top of that, we've got 400,000 that we can fix the park as it is in this current location. We don't have this kind of money, the 600,000 that,
Dollars. If you were gonna do it for the park. then
the
that's-
price tag that he gave was 600 to 800,000. And that's not the money that we have from the grant. That's pulling out of a different
Well,
fund. That's
again-
from our taxpayers' dollars.
Again, that grant was for something different, but
And we can reallocate it, but it's not gonna cover a 600 to 800,000. So the 6-month timeframe
can get
becomes a lot
donations.
longer finding funding.
yes, but look at where we're gonna receive back monetarily from renting it out for venues and all this stuff. This would make up for,
Do you foresee this
extra money.
falling under Brian Fawcett to rent out?
No.
Who rents it out?
probably the city, I would guess.
So is that under
Montana?
Megan?
Well, I mean, it could be placed under,
We can figure that out.
that's something we thought about. But it would be done but within the city.
I think there's a lot of details that we need to iron out before we jump on this plan. I would very much move forward for a public hearing one more time before we consider a big move like this.
Well, we're not locking in every single little detail, but we are saying we want to move it to that
And
location.
That will allow the city staff to begin.
Yep, so that they can start
Their decisions on.
moving it.
Without having a funding apparatus, Burke instructed if we have a,
Said we had funding.
Well, the thing is, until we get bids on what it will take to do this, we can't allocate money to it. Because if we say, okay, let's allocate 800,000, guess what's gonna be proposed by the prospective bidder? 800,000. We want to let them, here it is, give us a proposal on prepping it, build the retaining wall, all of that. Then we will have an idea. But if you put a number out there, they will hit that number.
I'm saying that if we want to park in 6 months, we've got to know where that money's coming from.
We can work that out when we know what we're
Okay.
gonna have to pay for.
All right.
You know, I would think we had a motion. Could you repeat your motion, Bobby?
I make the motion that Sesquicentennial Park be relocated and reestablished in the parking area behind the Graham Historical Museum. That the city staff be directed to begin seeking proposals for performing the work necessary to build it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Renee, that's 4-1. Thank you. On a similar note, right now we have 500,000 allocated to stamping the crosswalks. If we want that to continue, we don't have to make a motion. But if we want any of that funding to go towards these flashers or to Sesquicentennial Park in any capacity, we need to amend that vote. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, but let's get a quote
So
on installing.
Megan, do we need to pause that? Because y'all are moving forward with that project unless we,
The project is continuing.
Right.
Because it was approved by city council. If there are any amendments, then the project ordinance would need to be amended by a majority of city council, so we would know
So
where to
is
go
there
from here.
Any amendment needed
Pardon me?
if we decide to go with flashing lights.
Yeah, then we have to make the motion. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so we make the motion.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And we
will,
have to declare that the extra money go to this. That's what she's
We
saying.
have to.
Yes.
Or else it'll start getting
Because
used
otherwise
up.
we'll go too far and we won't be able to back up. That's what she's
Right.
trying to say.
yeah, so I will point out, when city council adopted the project ordinance, there was a contingency / unencumbered amount of 84,000 that was approved by city council in the project ordinance, that is not allocated to any of the 3 projects that were approved. And that, just for a recap, those 3 projects were the streetlight improvements, the pedestrian crosswalk improvements, and tree replacement, all downtown. And then unencumbered, built in as contingency, was $84,044. So right now, that hasn't been allocated to any specific project that could be used for consideration by city council to approve however you deem lawful, within our lawful
Okay.
boundaries.
It's good to know.
Do we want to move forward with the flashers?
Yeah, I'd like to
Okay,
make a
well-
motion.
What would be your motion, Joe?
The amount that Megan just mentioned,
$84,044.
that we put that towards the flashers. And then we could allocate the difference once they're going and they get to the last few or whatever, if that's,
And we're identifying the 4 crosswalks around the circle
Yeah.
to use that
Yeah.
funds. Okay, do I hear a second? Thank you.
Second.
Can I just, and
Okay.
before you go, I'm sorry, can I just recap? It would be to amend
to amend
the project.
where that money's
ordinance
supposed to go now.
downtown improvements, to allocate the $84,044 for rapid flashing beacons at the 4 crosswalks identified downtown around the square. Is that accurate for
Yes.
what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do I hear a
Thank you.
second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Do we want to leave the pedestrian crosswalk stamping as is, or do you want to reallocate that to Sesquicentennial Park?
If we're going to replace the stamping with flashing lights.
That's not what we did. This 84, the contingency was moved to the flashing lights.
Right, so we
So you
still
still have
have,
500,000 for the pedestrian crosswalk improvement. That only 13,000 has been, right, Megan? 13,000 has been done for design and engineering.
Yeah, 13 through November, just knowing that December hasn't been.
But I thought I heard Bert say it was 100,000 for the flash.
There
Flashing
were,
lights are already, we're already done flashing
Yeah.
lights here.
Yep.
So we're wondering if you want to keep stamped crosswalks, or if you,
that's the choice now. So,
The 84,000 is currently unencumbered for the flashing crosswalk lights.
right,
Yes.
that's what we just did.
Okay.
But
So
we
the
still have the,
500,000 for the stamped crosswalks.
right, do we
Now
want
that
to take
we-
that money and allocate it to this? That's what the mayor is asking.
That's what you're asking.
Yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
make a motion
Go.
that we take the money that was originally intended for the stamped crosswalks to go to where you guys were
Just
just talking
to
about.
moving the park.
Yes.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
and if I may just add, for a point of clarification, depending on what the bids come in as, we may need to come back to city council to amend that project ordinance again, depending on what the bids come back as. So right now, the balance is 486,895, perhaps less December. That amount, assuming, I can't remember if you voted, the vote passes, would be reallocated towards the proposal tonight, with the understanding that there may or may not be additional funds that would have to go along with that.
So basically, we're saying the balance of the $500,000 originally intended for the stamped crosswalk
We'll now
would
go
be
to
reallocated.
this.
Yes, so our engineers will be directed to cease work on the stamp crosswalk project. And we will relay that to DOT because it is their street. And obviously, the rapid flashing beacons would also require DOT approval before we go down that process. And given it's a safety feature, I think there's a good chance that it would be approved, but ultimately, the authority lies with them.
Are there streets that DOT, the end Graham, that DOT doesn't have anything to do with?
Yes, and
That-
we can share with
could we-
city council the Powell bill map.
Because we could do those without DOT and then just,
Yeah, Elma's
DOT.
city.
thank you.
Did we finish that motion? Since you, okay. Would, one more
I
time.
made the motion that we, the money that was going towards the stamp crosswalk.
We're
Did we
amending the
just-
project
just-
ordinance.
I thought we just voted on that.
She interrupted,
okay.
point of clarification.
Okay,
Sorry.
that we, at- reallocate.
Amend the
money-
project ordinance
Yes, for the, stamped crosswalks
to,
to go to the location, the new location for the Sesquicentennial Park.
second?
Second.
Okay. Sorry, do I have a second? Bonnie, all in favor?
Aye.
No.
Or
No.
no? Okay, so that's 3-2. Ricky and I voted no towards that. And it passed. Okay. That was Sesquicentennial Park. Now we're moving on to boards and commissions appointments. Renee, this says 2 vacancies on the HRC. I thought it was 3. No, just 2. Okay. First, we have our planning board, Board of Adjustments. We've got 1 vacancy because Jim Young got promoted to council. So our applications that came in were Daniel Alvis, Corbin Craig, Ricky Hurtado, Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, Jensen Roll, and Richard Shevlin. Do we have any thoughts?
Madam Mayor, I would like to nominate Elizabeth Kirkpatrick.
She present. Madam Mayor, I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Well, welcome to the planning board. It's a 5-0, Elizabeth Kirkpatrick. All right, we've got 2 vacancies for the Historic Resource Commission. We've got Corbin Craig, Ricky Hurtado, and Richard Shevlin for those applications.
Madam Mayor, I know that we, Megan had commented, not Megan, Renee had commented that we had some people who wanted to apply and they missed it. And then I've had several people come up to me because that's also replacing my position. And I would like to table this for a month and ask that our city manager do some social media advertising and get some more applicants.
We have a whole new batch of votes coming this spring. And so I would like to move to go ahead and replace these 2 seats, knowing that we will have a lot more opportunities for people to hop on this spring. And I do agree, I think it needs to be spread far and wide just to make sure that everybody knows that these opportunities are out there.
The motion is to table.
Oh, I don't think I said.
He didn't make a
Yeah,
motion, it was just an
I would like to
opinion.
make a motion that we table that and we advertise on social media for more applicants and give it a month. And then they'll look at it again.
I'll second your motion, Chair.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Renee, that's 4-1 with me against. All right. That was almost all of the agenda, but now it's public comments time. We get to hear from you guys. So, thank you, ma'am. Keith Westbrook, are you here? Can you state your name and your address?
Keith Westbrook, 604 Trockwalder Court in Graham.
Thank you for being here.
Thank y'all for hearing me. I'm a little concerned. There's a project going on down across from North Graham High School. They've cleared the land. They made 2 great big piles, and guess what they did with them? They burned them. The lady that lives right on the end now, she wasn't real happy because her house smelled like smoke for about a week, she said. But she's an elder lady. She ain't gonna come up here and say nothing. But it's still wrong. It's a burn. First off, it's in the city limits. No burning city limits, correct? Second thing was, there's been a burning ban on North Carolina since March. And when I talked to the developer, I asked him, I said, nobody said nothing to you about burning? His comment was, you do things as a developer to save money, and then if you get caught and they find you, then you deal with that. I didn't like that answer because I'm for the citizens. I live there, okay? The lady that lives right beside of them, she has no idea what's going on. Somebody that's dealing with this project should be talking to the neighbors. First off, burning stuff, if they come and and cleared that land behind your house and burned that, would you be happy about it? I wouldn't. And it's against the law. I think something should be done, not let the developers just run rampant, okay? That's not what we're here about. We're here to protect the citizens. The citizens have rights. I'm not saying I don't want them to develop. I do. I really do. But at the same time, be respectful of the people around where you are developing. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. I
Thank you.
appreciate you being here. Todd Mundy? Thank you for being here. If you could say your name and your address.
My name is Todd Mundy. I live on 1624 Granada Lane, just down Rogers Road. So I came tonight. I was asked by the planning, one of
Cam.
our staff, yeah, Cameron. We have about 5.5 acres down Rogers Road, and we are looking at building a cottage for our son. He's getting married in June, so he and his wife are looking for a kind of a small home, and so it's about 800 square feet. But currently, everything's been kind of put on hold for like any of the building permits because we're not allowed to have an additional dwelling on our property. And so the options have been to parcel it out, which we didn't want to do. It's pretty expensive getting all that surveyed. And so that's what I'm here for, just to, I guess, get the ball rolling of trying to maybe change. I know North Carolina is looking at passing some of these statutes a little bit, and just the city of Graham doing the same thing. I know people do it. They have them above their apartment or above their garages and things like that. And so I just was trying to do it the right way. So,
Thank you for being here, Todd. I appreciate it.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Griffin McClure? State your name and address, please, sir.
Griffin McClure, 622 Johnson Avenue in Graham. Kind of a lot to unpack from tonight. Kind of a mess, to be honest. What we've done is agreed to move a park without a budget to a place that hasn't been approved to take up parking for businesses that are right around the corner. I have a big problem with that. I also have a problem with, we have 8 corners in downtown in Court Square, and 7 of them contain buildings. And you guys want to put rock, glass, and stone on the 8th one to complete the circle, where we have a nice green space that could be repurposed, maybe not cheaply, but as in par with the budget that you're suggesting for moving and creating a brand new park that mirrors the park in Mayor Tiley's parking lot across Court Square with a stage even, and a paved parking lot to go with it. So I have trouble with all this logic. I have trouble with certain council people that have been elected on a platform to keep the park in place. Seems like a bait and switch to be recently elected. I think we have council people on the record from May 13th last year of saying they want to keep the park in place, that it's a nice place for people to eat their ice cream and lunch. I think that changed with the presentation tonight. There's a lot of things I have take issue with, that we're leaving something, and again, we haven't reached any to my issue, which is selling a beautiful piece, corner parcel of land that could be a nice green space for downtown. We haven't done that yet. So we still got public hearings to have, or you should feel guilty for not having them. You have a public parcel that's still owned by the city and will continue to be owned by the city, even though tonight you voted to move a park to a place that doesn't exist without a quote, with no budget. Just suggesting that you're going to spend the same amount it would take to keep the park where it is, where people have voiced opinions that they prefer it. People got elected on that platform. People have spoken publicly in this venue to keep it there. I don't understand what changed, unless somebody put a presentation in front of you to present tonight. Maybe an employer, I don't know. But something has changed in the last 30, 60 days it's discomforting as a citizen that has kept up. We started this 2 years ago. I'm looking at the folks that have been in the room with me talking about this.
the councils, formal councils that I've been on have heard about these issues. They weren't as pressing as park closed. That's pretty damning, excuse my French. That was the sense of urgency that came along to this council, not to previous councils. That came up to you all to fix and find a solution. You're asked to hear from the community. They've said, don't move it, keep it there. I think that's the best place forward. We've got a lot of things to work out over the next 90 days, one of which is not selling that parcel. That's a generational loss if you let go of that parcel as a park in our downtown. It's a cornerstone that should be kept and respected and nourished back to life instead of thrown away to pennies on the bid for surplus property. Just doesn't make sense. One of the tenets of urban design is to keep green space where you can gather and sit and have passerbys, walkability, things like that that are important to any city. Golden Gate Park, Hyde Park, Central Park. You have the luxury of designing a city, you put these things in. You have the luxury of having one and you want to sell it. It just doesn't make sense. There's no logic here except for preference and bias. And I hate to say that. I can't find another way to look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Griffin. Would anybody else like to speak during public comment? Hey, Daniel.
If they're not on that,
Being on the list?
if they're not on
We're-
there, you can't do it.
We've done it before. I would like to go ahead and let people know.
No.
Bob,
Yeah, no.
can I have more people during an open public comment session?
No.
They've been instructed that when they set,
I'm asking Bob. Wait 1 second, please. Okay. So in the past, when we've allowed that, was it just an oversight? Can I legally allow somebody to speak?
you got to vote.
Well, that been followed in the past, you know, quite frankly now, if indeed, you know, if it's a pleasure of the, if it's the direction of the council not to do it, you know, to amend that, I would ask the council, you know, to permit that, put it to a vote, and if they authorize it, you move forward. So.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
We allow Mr. Alvis to come up and speak. He's been here since we started and, I wouldn't feel right not letting him.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Young. Do I have a second? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Okay. I'm sorry, Daniel. We'll have coffee. All right. I'm sorry.
There was,
If you're not, hold on. Hold on, Eric. We've got to all play by the same rules. Because we're not on here, I'm being instructed by our city attorney this is the only way that you can stand up. So we've got to move on. The next item on the agenda is the city staff comments. Megan, you got it?
Yeah, I'd love to start. Thank you. There are a few items I would request council consensus tonight. As I reported last week in the weekly report, Emily Lynn Adkins from ABSS has requested the municipal managers and one elected official serve on their rezoning advisory committee. If one of you would be willing to serve on that with me, the session I signed up to go to is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. They have other sessions. We did not receive this request in time to be considered in December, so I apologize for bringing it forward so late. But if one of you would be interested and willing to serve on that committee, it would be fantastic. And I have other items. That's just my first.
Madam Mayor, if it's the pleasure of the council, I would like to take on that position.
Do we need a motion or do we just need
A motion or consensus, I'm good
Fine
with
with it.
however you'd like to handle it. It's the will of the council.
Is there anybody else that would like that, or are we good with Ricky going?
I'd like to make a motion that we, appoint
Jim, you're on a roll tonight.
Yeah. to, next week I'm not, or next month, no, nothing. I'm just gonna
Okay.
shut up. I'd like to make a motion that we, ask Ricky to, attend the ABSS.
Rezoning
management-
Advisory Committee.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
She said.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Okay. You got Ricky tomorrow.
Thank you.
Awesome. Next.
We have a special meeting scheduled for next week on Tuesday, January 20th. We probably will start at 8 or early in the morning. I know this date had been sent to y'all as a placeholder. Right now, we have the Board of Elections conference room reserved for that. I wanted to confirm that that is where council still wants it to be held, or if it's somewhere else, let me know. We just need to get the advertisement out as soon as possible.
Megan, we had spoke about hosting it here so that it could be live streamed so that the community could at least review. I know it's during the day, so if you don't want to come, you'll be able to look at a YouTube feed afterwards just to see what we're doing for transparency. So I would like to move that the meeting does not take place at Board of Elections where we can't live stream it, but it stays here where we can live stream it.
Well, I do want to just say one thing. I know that this is your first time for this particular meeting. And I use the term meeting kind of loosely because we have a facilitator that's hired to come in, and we're going to be breaking apart into groups and discussing what our priorities are for the city to see if we can all come to a consensus. And that's what we're going to be doing. I don't really think the chambers is set up for that type of situation.
I agree. I think it
Um,
would be better if we could live stream it somewhere else, but I do think it's very important work that I would like our community members to be able to view and see us work through as a council.
Well, they're welcome to attend.
Yeah, they can come.
They can physically come.
Sure, but it's during a week when most people have work, so they're not able to.
But
Can we
again,
move it here? There's room that we can do a U shape right here in the middle and still have,
in the past,
video.
we've done it at Civic Center.
oh, I know.
And with the moderator, this does not facilitate that kind of discussion.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it doesn't lend itself to the way the moderator leads us in deciding our vision, our direction, our priorities.
And she's going to have several different like setups with us-
Maps and post.
maps and things
Sure.
to write on and whatnot. And I just
So,
don't think it would
and
do
Jim and
anything
I
in here.
have talked about this as far as we ran on transparency and increased accountability for the government. And I think that that's my whole aim. I'm not trying to make life hard. I'm just trying to make us transparent and held accountable from our
Well,
community
if we were
members.
voting on something, I could see it, but it's not really like that.
it's not a
not-
closed session.
Yeah.
Budget.
It's the
It's
work
an open
session.
Who wants to watch a budget meeting?
Some people do.
I
We
think,
might.
I think some people would like the option to go back
Oh.
and look.
Well, I have the equipment and I mean, we could have, but I think that just based on what I was told how it was going to be, I think over at the Board of Elections spot would be more accommodating for that and whoever's coming to speak to us. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to set up a live stream. It wouldn't be like, studio quality, but it would be just as good as what we got here.
Are you,
I mean, you could.
are you
set up a live-
volunteering
Sure,
to help us live stream it?
yeah, I'll do it.
That's fine.
Thank you so much. So
As
we,
long as there's like, I mean, I could do that, right? Just set it up and,
Anyone could attend the meeting and record it. It's a public meeting. So whether it's a city council member or a member of the public, as long as
Can we
it's
put
an
it-
open meeting, it could be recorded by anybody.
all I need is power and a Wi-Fi.
can we put it on the City of Graham YouTube?
The City of Graham YouTube runs through a Zoom meeting. So I can't tell you 100% sure yes or no
That's
because
what-
I don't
But we'll
set
look
that
into
up.
that.
We would need
Yeah.
to talk to the IT guy
Yeah.
because it's just an address that we'd have to put in there and
Yeah.
then it automatically comes up.
Okay.
So
what I'm-
even if we, I mean, what, if it was just recorded and then the city put it up afterwards?
Yeah.
Then that would probably be a lot easier
Okay.
because we're relying on Board of Elections, internet, and who knows, what kind of issues.
Yeah.
But I could definitely set it up to where we can record it and it will be recorded nice and then we can post that up.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm hearing that we're
Mhm.
keeping it at the Board of Elections with live streaming possibilities. Awesome.
Or
Thank
at
you.
least recording possibilities to be uploaded later,
Yeah.
worst case
Right,
scenario.
right.
Okay.
But
all right.
recorded.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's fine.
Sure.
Okay, so on the topic of special meetings, I text city council today and just asked you if you were available to please check your calendars. Davenport Associates is our financial advisor, so once city council sets your priorities for the upcoming fiscal year, we communicate that to departments, ask them to draft their budgets in accordance with that. They did provide a list of dates. Some are anytime, some are evening dates. So of those that were sent out to you, I know there are 3 conflicts that we won't be able to do, and that was 2/11, 2/17, and 2/19. But that leaves still 5 or 6 options. So if it's possible for city council to come to a consensus on when to host that meeting so we can get everyone in place and have the advertisement ready in ample notice, that would be fantastic.
Could you put the dates up again, Megan?
Yeah, so I don't have them, I have them on my cell phone. It's, February 3rd was an evening. February 4th was anytime. February 9th, anytime. February 11th, I have a conflict. February 16th is anytime. February 17th is a conflict. February 18th, anytime, and then February 19th, there's another conflict.
I would propose that we would go with February the 4th.
In the evening?
I can't do the 4th, but I can do the 2nd or the 3rd.
At the evening?
So, February 3rd was evening. They didn't have the second.
Okay.
But, February 3rd was evening. February 4th was anytime. And then it jumped to the following week, February 9th.
And you had a conflict when? The 4th. The 4th?
I can do the 3rd or the 9th.
Let's do the 9th.
I can
Okay.
do either of those, sure.
The ninth,
fine.
I'm open.
9th is
Okay,
fine
and
with me.
what time would you like that held? Because right now they're available anytime.
I'm available that day, so I don't care.
How much time we need? All day?
No, I wouldn't say all day. I would allocate a couple of hours.
Okay.
Say 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
3?
So February 9th from 1 to 3 PM in this room.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. And then my fourth and final, before I'll turn it over to anyone else for the night, is, as was sent to city council last week, the city of Graham has, for a number of years, talked about branding initiatives and rebranding efforts. With the PR specialist we have on staff, in addition to a graphic designer who was onboarded. This was sort of Aaron's baby project, in addition to the real project that he was going through with them to come up with a different brand, a different logo, not the city seal. No one's replacing that. So as you can see from this first slide, we kind of have the city of Graham, the traditional. You move down to the live, work, play. That was in play for a while. And then the box at the bottom of that is kind of what we use today, where it just says City of Graham, North Carolina. In the presentation, you will see the primary color that was proposed is the blue. Blue represents stability, authority, trustworthiness, professional, timeless. And the complementary or the secondary color is sort of that light green to reflect growth and commitment. This is one of the designs that was presented. This is the horizontal format that would be used for items such as letterhead, envelopes, email headers, and things like that. Moving on to the next is what they call an integrated format. This is something that would be considered for social media, web page banners, and business cards. The logo mark is something that you would see on vehicles, apparel, and email signatures. And to get into the detail of the symbolism of what everything on here means, the clock is located currently at Sesquicentennial Park, where it sits today. It is public city property. Clocks reflect reliability, the passage of time, as well as forward progress, and it's something that's rooted in heritage. The time that is set on the clock as it's proposed is 6:51, and military time, that is 1851, and that is the year that the city of Graham was founded. The green in the image represents rolling hills of the Piedmont region and green spaces. The blue represents creeks, streams, rivers, and the Hall River. The G is a clean design. It's something that's distinctive, recognizable. And the rebrand does not favor any one department over the other. It doesn't feature any privately owned businesses, and it does not reinvent the city of Graham's identity. The rebrand is designed to project professionalism, to clarify Graham's identity, to anchor authenticity, and to refresh Graham's visual appearance. Honoring our heritage and facing our future is sort of the tagline that was developed to go along with this.
I like it.
And then you can see just variations of color. I know there was some discussion on the green and how the green is sort of similar to Burlington, which has, I will say, more of a vibrant green in their B logo. These were just sort of changing. I'm not a red person, so it's kind of hard to win me over on red, but lots of people like it. So these were just some other options that were kind of put on there for consideration. And then you get to where one suggestion was the red, and when I opened it, my comment was, wow, that really kind of hurts your eyes to look at that much red. And the thought behind that initially was, you know, Graham High School has that traditional red in their G for that, but it may not be an ideal fit for, go ahead, Flip for us here, so.
Well, your explanation behind the colors.
Yeah.
And such in the design. I withdraw my statement about changing the color.
The red. The red hits differently when you see that.
Yeah, very striking.
I did recommend purple and gold.
I would second purple and gold for different reasons, but you know,
No.
may not be the best
No LSU colors.
idea here.
I
Megan?
like the green and the blue. That's very nice. It's
Are
really-
you looking for comments or just
Yeah, what do you-
a presentation?
So this is really just a presentation to city council. We would like to start moving forward with a new logo and a new design. It's been a project that has probably had different iterations for the better part of 5, 10,
I was gonna say more
10
than that, yeah.
10 years. So it would be nice to come to some sort of resolution to move forward and start sort of this rebrand process. We didn't, you know, go through an expensive outside firm, and it was very clear from the prior city council that that sort of money was not a priority to be allocated to something like that. We were trying to be wise stewards of taxpayer dollars and do a lot of this, but still come up with what we believe to be a quality professional product.
Well, I must say the clock in gray makes that 1861 stand out,
51 pop.
651.
I'll share my comments just because I think it is valid. Y'all aren't going to be able to see this, but for the sake of transparency, here it is. It looks very similar to the Burlington brand. To me, it looks like we're a little bit faded, but do a very similar in font and colors. And I think that Graham's identity is more vibrant and brighter than that. And I think that it in juxtaposition, in proximity, because they're right next door, and also how close our logos look, we are so much more than the wannabe Burlingtons. And those were my comments, is that I would love to see a brand that really encapsulates all of our vibrancy. I know that you're not calling for a vote, just comments, but those are my comments.
Thank you for that, Mayor Dickey.
Just please tell me you don't want red.
I don't think red fits in that brand at all. I think if red is integrated,
Thank
it
you.
needs to be reconfigured. But I do think that specifically that blue and that green are just more muted colors that Burlington has already identified with.
That's why I think having that gray clock versus the green clock shown there.
Did we even have a gray one? We didn't
Yeah,
have a
there
gray
was
one,
one
did
in the lower left corner. Where
Are you
we?
done?
Not gray, that, is it?
Looks
Lavender to me, or purple.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's trying to,
purple-esque.
it's getting close to your purple.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No wonder you like
It
it.
does stand out.
Megan, do you have more comments? Okay. Aaron, comments?
Just one. So the gentleman that spoke earlier, I believe.
I was Todd Mundy.
Yeah.
I was getting to it in my comments.
Okay.
We good? Is that it?
Were you gonna,
I was gonna address that we need to move that onto ordinance amendment
Okay.
if we want to move forward.
I was gonna see if there was gonna be any direction to staff on how to handle what he was trying to get to.
Yeah,
So if you.
it's on my comments. Guys, we'll talk in just a couple minutes. Y'all have any comments out here? No. Okay. All right. City council comments. Bonnie, can we start with you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's go.
I was going to see if I could talk to the rest of the council about maybe entertaining putting something on the agenda for next month for us to discuss. I've never really liked the idea of having R7 in our development ordinance, to be honest with you. Because it's so condensed, it's just, I just think we don't need it. So I would like to kind of at least have a discussion about that. The other thing would be to make it so that we don't have single wide trailers on RG land anymore. Of course, I realize we'd have to grandfather in those who already have them, and if they had to be replaced, they would have to, a certain amount of time to replace it, or they would have to go to a double wide. I just think it would enhance, the city, the look of the city. It's something I'd like to discuss.
I'm down to do it.
Okay.
Good. Do we need to,
How
do
about
we
you?
need to make a
You two?
motion and put it on?
No, it's just.
No.
a
No, it's just
consensus.
a
I think it,
consensus. I don't know if,
just on my experience after being on the planning and zoning, yeah, it needs to be discussed, especially, Riley's Meadow, things like that. And
yeah, some of, they're kind of a disaster, and I just think we need to prevent that from happening again, if we possibly can, so. And I know that, we're gonna be working on a new UDO and all that stuff, but that stuff takes a lot of time and a lot of money to get the whole thing rewritten, so I'm not a big fan of piecemealing, but in some instances, I think we need to step forward and maybe do that, so.
Anything else?
Okay.
All right.
That's it.
Bobby?
Nope.
Nope. All right.
My comments during the
All right. Appreciate that. Ricky?
Yeah, I do want to state one thing for the record, no matter what Griffin says. This project that I presented tonight was 100% mine. Nobody has seen it up till today. And like I said, I worked on it during my downtime with my foot. I started it, but sort of tabled it because of health issues with my in-laws, and finished it off during my confinement or not being able to get around. That's it.
Thank you, Ricky. Jim?
I've spoken enough tonight.
You want any more motions to go through?
No.
All right. First of all, talking about Ted Mundy, this is something I talked to Aaron about. We'll need to amend the development ordinance to allow ADUs if we want, like, if his project is going to move forward, that's the path forward for it. What?
Isn't that like,
We had
I thought we talked about.
we talked
something like
about
that.
ADUs, accessory dwelling units, did we not,
A year ago.
a year ago?
Or
It was a little bit longer. It was
Maybe
back
2 years
when, we had a former plan director. I'd probably say 3 years ago at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just remember we had discussed that.
Yeah, it was a proposal
Complaint.
that had come before council one time before. I mean, it's
I
totally
thought
up to
we
you guys if you
approved
want to
it.
bring it back.
You know, it changed the number. I guess we never approved it.
It wasn't approved.
Okay, but we did discuss
But we
it,
did
right?
discuss it.
So I'd be interested in bringing it up
Yeah,
on
that's fine.
agenda next time
Sure.
in February.
So is that for council to take up, or is this for
We should let the planning board.
planning board? Oh, okay, I was gonna say, I think what would probably be the best route would be if council consensus,
The
staff
rec-
could bring something forward that planning board can chop up, and then we can get it to council for y'all to review.
Did he say he did not want to like subdivide?
He did
is
not.
that
He
what
said it
he's
was-
Trying to avoid doing
yeah.
that, or?
Yeah.
That's an
Hmm.
option, but he said
Yeah.
that wasn't one that he wanted to do because of how much it cost.
Subdivide?
For surveying.
We're surveying to subdivide.
Okay.
Can I get a consensus from council to send it to planning board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
All right. All right, next,
The issue
Chief
of.
Todd? Or Chief Cole, I'm sorry. Can you come up and talk a little bit about the burning for Keith? Is that something that you knew about or monitoring? I didn't know about it, but I'm not supposed to know about it yet.
So we were notified that someone was burning, and so
Okay.
I personally responded out there. Spoke to the gentleman that was doing the land clearing. I think initially the property had been cleared. The person clearing, doing the grading had left the job. And so this gentleman had came back in to try to help finish the project. So he was burning, and I explained to him that we typically do not allow that. However, there is a permit process that my fire inspector can issue a permit in the city. We take into consideration surrounding dwellings. Generally, it's for areas like out towards the park, Graham Regional, where it's not very populated, because once the phone calls start, they generally just keep coming.
Yeah.
But in this situation, he had already started burning.
Mm-hmm.
And so the worst thing that we could do was try to put the fire out. They think their problems with smoke in the houses were occurring at that point. Let us put water on it and create a whole different situation. So the gentleman that was there was told not to put anything else on the fire. He had to stay with the fire until it was out.
Mm-hmm.
We actually went back because in the process of him moving equipment, he got trapped in the fire and got injured, and we had to go put the fire out. And I think he may have been transported. I'm not exactly sure, but so there was a different situation that came along with it at that point. But it's right on the edge of the city, and sometimes they just don't know if they're in the city or not. The biggest problem that we have is that people can go online to the State Forestry Service
Mm-hmm.
and do a 30-day burning permit.
Oh.
And it doesn't say anything about whether you're in the city or not. It says, because he told me, he said, I have a permit from State Forestry. I'm like, well, it doesn't do you any good in the city limits of Graham.
Yeah.
So people just don't know that because they get told, hey, just go in and get a permit and you're good to go.
Okay.
So it happens occasionally, and we'll just go out and explain it. In that situation, he had 2 big piles of stuff that he had already lit. And so the best thing we'd do was just let it go ahead and burn. Don't add anything else to it. And that's typically what we do. Putting water on is just a problem.
Makes it
It just
worse.
creates a very bad smell, and typically the smoke starts to lay low because we added moisture to the environment. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Can we add a little bit of education around those permits on your social and on the city social?
be glad to.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time. While we're on that, we've got some controlled burns happening on Jim Minor Road, just for the community to know. You don't have to call in. We already know they're happening. You can call in. We'll chat with you. There are Just another invitation for the January 20th meeting, come to our planning session. That's going to start at 8 a.m. at the Board of Elections. I wanted to say congratulations to Detective Dizel for earning the Advanced Law Enforcement Certificate through our police department. We're super grateful that our police department continues to educate and further themselves to support and keep us safe. I just wanted to update the council that I've been in talks with Brian Baker, the Alamance County manager, to identify economic development opportunities. The assistant manager, thank you. For underutilized properties or vacant properties to continue to make our community vibrant. And lastly, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to our city staff. You guys make us look good up here. Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Aaron.
I guess.
Good job, guys.
I have a question though.
Sure.
Why did you approach Brian Baker versus talking to our own?
Aaron was with me
You
at
do-
the meeting.
Oh, you were,
Yes,
Yeah.
I was invited to it.
okay.
Yeah. We all sat down together. Those were the conversations that were started in the Alamance County Chamber talk, so it was furthering those. At this point, I would like to consider going into closed session. So I need a motion and a second to go into closed session to consult with the attorney in accordance with North Carolina General Statute, Section 143-318.11A3, City of Mebane versus City of Graham, case 25 CV007-126-000.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we go into closed session.
I second the motion, ma'am.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you guys so much for being here. Wait, wait for Jim to sit down. I need a motion and a second to return to open session.
Make a motion, we return to open session.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And now I need a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's
Madam
meeting.
Mayor, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I appreciate you guys. We'll see you in February meeting.
Congratulations on running it didn't go,
Oh, yeah.
our meetings, let's make this a normal.
Oh, absolutely. This is longer than what I had anticipated. Okay, thank you guys. Y'all have a great night.